In this video, I'm going to talk about why I believe it's a good idea for employers to share interview questions with their candidates. And I believe there are three key reasons for this will actually be a profitable approach. The first one is that sharing interview questions with candidates would incentivize them to prepare these interviews. Not many do, of course, the reflex question is here, hey Dan, but if you provide the questions in advance, they would all prepare only this, and they will bias the interviewer, and they will be far more likely to, to exploit this in certain ways. In my experience as an interview coach, people grossly underestimate how hard it is to master, especially behavioral interviews. And again, it doesn't make a significant difference in the ability for someone to bias the interviewer in the wrong way if you provided these questions in advance. So I believe this is a non-issue in my experience, at least. Second reason why I believe it makes sense and it's actually beneficial to share these questions in advance is because it automatically raises the quality expectations from that conversation, from that job interview. Why is this important? Well, it's important, of course, because if you have a higher quality bar from that interview, you would screen better those candidates. But not only that, but as an employer, a problem for interviewers is that as an interview coach, I can tell you that people answer questions in the same way over and over and over again. They always answer the weakness question with public speaking. They always compliment the company where asking, why do you want to work here? And what happens is when you have such redundant answers, you basically prefer to only, okay, I'm going to take my notes and just move on. Whereas if you share these questions in advance with the candidate, you automatically raise the expectations from those answers. So if you say, hey, I'm going to ask you what's your weakness, they will realize that, hey, maybe, it's not the best idea to talk about is public speaking, right? So by raising you will have more engaged interviewers and therefore a superior screening process, right? You will screen better for the best candidates. And the third reason why I believe it will make a positive impact to share these interview questions in advance with the precise wording and precise order you're going to get asked these questions is because of what happens in these interviews, how some try to make a difference between candidates is by using some trendy keywords or some trendy topics. For example, how do you handle diversity, equality, and inclusion? Well, I worked all my life with hugely diverse teams, and this has always been a topic in my work. But if you ask me this in a job interview without preparing it, I really struggle answer it. I mean, for the first 30 seconds, I try to realize, hey, what are they actually looking for? How do I go about answering these things? And then probably it'll take me another 30 seconds to find the possible best approach to answer it. Whereas if you told me, you'd ask me this in advance, I would prepare it and I will still give you a far superior answer because that's one of my strengths. So it's actually to the advantage of your interview, right? Or another example, when you ask a junior software development engineer, how do you make a difference within a cross-functional team? Okay, I don't believe that junior developers know much about cross-functional teams and all that stuff, or at least not as a keyword. So by using those keywords, you get people stuck. Or to give you another way that some interviewers make candidates block within a job interview would be to dramatize certain questions. So instead of asking something online, so tell me about the time when you had a shortcoming in your career, then what's your worst failure? Okay, so if you ask something like this for a candidate that might be stressed out during a job interview, you might get them stuck. And this actually does happen quite a lot. Where is this your best interest to get that person stuck because you dramatize the question you're asking them? Or maybe, if you told them in advance that, hey, I'm going to ask you this question, how would you go about it? Then they would get stressed before the interview and struggle a bit on how to best answer it, try to read a bit between the lines of these things. So all in all, I believe that sharing these questions in advance would play a positive role to the outcome of these job interviews. Again, it would incentivize more and more candidates to prepare them. You would have better engaged interviewers in the interview process, and you'd have an overall better outcome. You'll hire better candidates. So I hope this makes sense, and thank you very much for watching.